Alright guys, welcome to the next vlog, and this is an exciting vlog because right now you're looking at footage of me being shot with the EOS R. So this is in 1080p 24 frames a second IPB mode, and so that's what you're looking at here. And today's an exciting day because what I'm going to do in this vlog is I'm going to talk about my first impressions of the EOS R after my first photo shoot. And here we go. If I get this mirror in here, you can see me using the camera to record myself. Got it in my hand, and this is handheld right now. Hopefully it's not too shaky. But yeah, so we're going to look at photos of Molly Rennick, little B-roll of the first photo shoot I did with her down in the Dominican Republic for the VX2TV Beach Party down there. And yeah, I'm distracted by looking at my face. Okay, got to pay attention here. So anyway, let's jump into it and look at some of those photos. Alright, you got to admit that was an upgrade over this camera. This is the Canon G7X Mark II right now. So I'm just throwing this in here because I want to see the difference between the two cameras. Okay, switching back to EOS R. It's hard to tell on these smaller screens, but I think this looks better. This is the EOS R again. I think it looks better. Anyway, we'll see on the YouTube video when it's done. Okay, so for those of you who have been following me on my series of vlogs, here we go. Here's the EOS R. Molly's gonna be my first victim.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Molly and all her underboob. Oh yeah. Okay guys, I'm going to let this B-roll go as I talk about my thoughts on the EOS R. I figured you'd rather be looking at photos of Molly or video of Molly than this ugly mug, so you're welcome. And before we get going, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that if you wanted to see more behind the scenes of me and the EOS R working in the Dominican Republic, check out my other YouTube channel, VX2TV. I'm working on producing content for that channel. I'm trying to build it up. Only 85 subscribers so far, but we're trying to make it something really big and cool. So if you want to give me a hand, if you want to help me out, if you like this kind of content, please check out VX2TV, link down below, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. All this B-roll you're seeing here is actually from my first day in the Dominican Republic, and if you want to see that vlog, I will link it down below as well, so you can go directly to that one if you like. Alright, so now with all that being said, let me talk about the EOS R, and keep in mind I am going to be talking about this camera from a photographer's perspective. I'm not going to be touching on video in this. I'm going to be talking about my experience shooting these hot models for a week down in the Dominican Republic, and the things I liked and didn't like about this camera. Okay, so first let's talk about how this camera feels in the hand, and it does feel nice in the hand. It's comfortable to hold, and whatever that rubber membrane is that they put over the magnesium alloy body, I'm not a big fan of that. Compared to the 5D Mark III, like those rubberized grippy pieces were really deep and grippy, and on the EOS R, this rubber membrane just feels very smooth and slippery, and I'm not a big fan of that. Another thing I don't like about this camera is whatever paint they used on the magnesium alloy body makes it feel plasticky. I don't know if there's plastic in the paint or whatever the case may be, but I actually, surprisingly, because I was super critical of the Sony a7 III and its boxy shape, but I do prefer the feel of the Sony a7 III in my hand over the EOS R. Next I want to talk about image quality. Now keep in mind I am upgrading from a 5D Mark III, and this EOS R is miles ahead of that. That 5D Mark III was an old camera, but the image quality out of this EOS R, fantastic. Beautiful, sharp, clean images, almost no noise. It's like a dream, holy cow. And that 24-105 kit lens, amazing, amazing. And even at f4, I got a decent background blur. There was decent bokeh in the background with an f4 lens, and I was really surprised to see that. And of course, with this camera, you also get those beautiful Canon Science colors, and they are amazing. And that's why the Sony a7 III is not with me on this trip, is because I didn't like the colors coming out of that camera. However, someone on this trip did bring a Sony a7 III, and they did convert the raw files through Capture One, and the colors did look fantastic. So I might have to go and take a look at that again. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. If you're a Sony or a Canon guy trying out Sony through Capture One, the colors actually do look good. Now, one of my big concerns going on this trip was battery life. The battery life rating for the EOS R was pretty bad when I was reading about it, so I brought all my batteries with me, and I'm happy to say that the battery life on this camera is fantastic. The new LPE6N and the old LPE6, they both lasted the entire day. The old LPE6 batteries, I would literally shoot from the morning till evening, and I would still have juice left in the battery after a full day of shooting, so fantastic. You know, no battery problems whatsoever to report. I have to admit, I was really surprised with the FV mode on the camera. It's kind of like a combination of manual and aperture and shutter priority mode, and you can go through each one of those settings and you can either lock it in place or you can set it to automatic, and it gives you a little bit of control, and I find it a lot easier than aperture priority mode because you can just sort of adjust things on the fly as you're going. And I was pleasantly surprised with that. I do like it. I don't even think there's a need for aperture and shutter priority mode with the FV mode now. You can just do everything through there. Something I was definitely concerned about when I got this camera was the fact that there's no joystick. Now, the joystick is something I loved with the 5D series of cameras, moving the focus point around. It was indispensable. I used it all the time. And with this camera, the screen, which is actually really nice, the back screen, becomes the joystick. So you can actually set it so half the screen or a quarter of the screen, whatever you want, actually becomes sensitive to your finger when you have your eye against the eyepiece, and you can move your focus point around with the screen. You can set it to like hold and drag or touch, whatever works for you, and it works pretty well. But I'll be honest, I didn't find myself using that very often, because if you're touching the screen to move your focus point around and you're shooting people, it's not the most efficient way to shoot people, and I'll explain that afterwards, or maybe in a different vlog. But yeah, the screen is easy to use to move your focus point around if you have to, but if you're shooting people, that might not be the most efficient way to shoot people. Okay, now there are two features on this camera which I absolutely love, and as far as I know, I have not seen these on any other camera, so I apologize if I'm wrong about this. And the first thing is that when you switch between photo and video mode, your settings stay. So let's say you're shooting photos of a model or landscape or whatever, and you want to switch to video, you switch over to video mode. You set up your video mode, you take your video, then you go back to photo mode to shoot photos, and your settings are still the same, right where you left them, exactly the same. And when you go to video, same thing. And I thought that was so cool, because I know with other cameras you switch from photo to video, and I'm always hesitant to do so because I have to change around all my settings and mess around with stuff. So that's really cool that it's like two cameras in one. You have a photography camera and a video camera with different settings and all in one body, and that is really awesome. And the other thing that I really love is the fact that the shutter comes down and protects the sensor when you take off your lens or turn off the camera. And that's incredible. That's such a simple thing. I can't tell you how many times I've shot weddings and I'm in the wedding hall and I have to change lenses, and I'm always so hesitant. I'm like, oh man, do I really want to change this? Do I really have to? Because I don't want to get dust on the sensor. If you shine a flashlight in a wedding hall, it's nothing but dust in the air. It's crazy. And when I had the Sony a7 III, I was constantly cleaning dust off that sensor with this EOS R. I have not yet once had to clean dust off the sensor, and that's huge. That's huge. Because the last thing you want to do is, you get a nice camera, you put on a nice lens on there, you take photos, and there's dust everywhere. It's like, drives you crazy. But that shutter that comes down to protect the sensor is fantastic. I assume a lot of cameras are going to have that going forward now that the cat's out of the bag. Okay guys, here's some final shots, edited shots I shot with the EOS R. If you want to see more, check out my website. I have a blog, link down below. Now I want to talk about one thing that I'm really annoyed about with this camera, and that is the fact that it does not have in-body stabilization. It's not a big deal from a photography perspective. I can still get great shots with stable IS in the lens, and usually your shutter speed is fast enough that you don't even need to bother with that. So as a photographer, I don't care about in-body stabilization, but I bought this camera to replace my G7X, which you're seeing footage from here. I wanted a better camera, I wanted better quality footage, so I wanted the EOS R to be my primary vlogging camera. And the thing is, as long as the camera is stuck to a tripod, you get good footage. But if you're walking around, if you're a mobile vlogger and you have the screen flipped out, you're walking down the street, you're talking to the camera, it's shaky. It's shaky. It doesn't have in-body stabilization, and not all lenses are IS. And even with IS, it's shaky. I mean, you have camera companies like Panasonic, which have IS in the body and in the lens, and it's like double IS. And here we have Canon like, oh, I can't put in-body stabilization in my cameras. I don't know why. Maybe they don't have the processing power, they don't have the technology, but they need to work on that. They need to work on that. When you have all other camera companies putting in-body stabilization in their cameras, it's a deal breaker. I mean, it will be a deal breaker going forward if Canon can't fix that problem, because people who vlog and shoot videos are going to be like, well, Canon's off the table. Let's move on to something else. And if the Sony a7 III had a flip-out screen so I could see myself, that would probably be my primary vlogging camera, because it's kind of nice to see yourself without having to hook up a monitor and all that kind of stuff, so you can be a mobile vlogger. But anyway, that's one of the things Canon needs to work on, in-body stabilization. Okay, and that brings me to my last point, and the last thing I don't like about this camera is the price. I mean, it's definitely not a 5D caliber camera. It's definitely not a 1DX caliber camera. This is more of like an entry-level mirrorless camera from Canon, and it's maybe, what, $400 or $500, maybe $600 overpriced for what it is. Doesn't have in-body stabilization, only one memory card. It's got some cool features. It's got some innovative things like the shutter that comes down and blocks the sensor, and that's great. And you have the settings for photo and video that stay when you switch between modes, and that's all fantastic stuff. But for what it is, I just don't think it's worth this price. I mean, they say it has a 5D Mark IV sensor in it. which is good. So maybe that increases the value a little, but I mean, total package, not worth it. Maybe wait and buy it when it's on sale or something. I really hope that Canon ups their game and takes it up a notch. I'll say this, it's a good start for Canon. They were late to the party with their full frame mirrorless, and now they're at the party and they have this EOS R, which is a good start, but it's definitely not the complete package. The crop in 4K video recording needs to be addressed. The no in-body stabilization needs to be addressed. The touch bar thingy here in the wrong position where you accidentally hit it with your thumb needs to be addressed. The only one card slot needs to be addressed. I mean, there's a lot of things that need to be fixed about this. I mean, there's a lot of good things too. I mean, you got the shutter that comes down and protects the sensor. You have a great viewfinder. The EVF, amazing. You know, the build of the camera is good. The new FV mode is really nice. The new lenses are really nice. I mean, there's a lot of steps in the right direction, and if anything, Canon is selling you on the promise that in the future, things are going to get better, and they're going to be innovative, but right now, the EOS R is what it is. It's overpriced. It's new. It's interesting. It's full frame. It's Canon. You can use your EF lenses on it, and that's all cool, but yeah, I don't regret buying it, but I definitely think Canon can up their game, and hopefully they do with the next iteration of this camera or whatever they announce next. And there you go. Those are my honest thoughts on the EOS R. That's my review after 1 week of use with the camera. I will make a proper review, a longer review, and a more in-depth review once I have more time with the camera. That generally takes like 2-3 months to really get to know the camera, so that's coming in the future. For those of you who are actually able to pay attention during this video, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And for those of you who couldn't pay attention, maybe you should go check out VX2TV because that would be more your style, huh? All right, link down below to VX2TV, link down below to the blogs and the vlog from this shoot here where you saw the B-roll. And thanks for watching. Peace out. I will see you guys in the next one. I will talk about how my mechanics for shooting with the mirrorless cameras, the A7 III and the EOS R, have changed from shooting with a DSLR. That's going to be the next vlog. All right, talk to you guys soon. Peace.